Hello folks, my name's Savannah and you're watching Nerdy Cat 96. So, something that I did this month was buy a bunch of book subscription boxes, and just to for my own personal learning experience, I guess, to see which ones were the most enjoyable for me. And one of them was the Once Upon a Young Adult Book Club box. If you don't know, what they do is they include a book and then they have a bunch of items that correlate directly to the book. And the items are packaged and they have page numbers on the box. So you aren't able to, or I mean you can, but you aren't supposed to open the parcels until you reach the page that is written across the box, because it corresponds to something on that page. And I was thinking about opening all the boxes early, but then I didn't want to do that. I figured I probably have some extra time this month now that I don't have school for the next 6 days. So what I wanted to do was make this into a kind of a reading vlog. So I'm going to open the big box and look at the items that I can see in here, and then I'm going to film myself going through the book and reading it, and then once I reach each of the pages, I'm going to be opening that little parcel. So this is what we see upon first opening. This looks like some sort of quote art print thing. So here, so you can see. So then we have our Once Upon a Book Club Book of the Month, which is Notes from My Captivity by Kathy Parks. This is really cool. I'm going to now read you the insert. It says, "Girl meets boy and the family holding her hostage." Oh boy. Adrian Cahill cares about 3 things: getting into a great college, becoming a revered journalist like her idol, Sidney DeClay, and making her late father proud of her. So when Adrian is offered the chance to write an article that could get her into her dream school and debunk her foolishly optimistic stepfather's claim, no, belief that a legendary family of hermits is living in the Siberian wilderness, there's no question that she's going to fly across the world. After all, it is the trip of a lifetime. But the Russian terrain is even less forgiving than Adrian. And when disaster strikes, nothing, not the flirtatious guide or her stepdad's obsessively detailed preparations, can protect Adrian from the sheer force of nature. Now she's being held captive by the family she was convinced didn't exist, and her best hope for escape is to act like she cares about befriending them, even if it means wooing the youngest son. Sharp and sensitive, Kathy Parks' Notes from My Captivity is a darkly funny and thought-provoking novel about survival of the human condition and the power to shape your own story. Came with this sticker that has her signature on it. This sounds so interesting, so I'm actually really excited to read this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start reading when I get back. I am going to see the Darkest Minds movie with my friend Mika, and then we're gonna go to the gym afterwards, and then I'll probably come back and start reading this and include some footage. So, woo! I have not even cracked this baby open yet. I was planning to do so last night, but when I got back from the Darkest Minds, I just wanted to film my review of that, so I have that uploaded, and so now I'm going to get into this. Yeah, I'm not reading my library right now because I am waiting for a package. They said that it needed a signature or something. I love this line. "I can't keep the sarcasm out of my voice at such times. It's like trying to take the calories out of a cupcake." Man, I'm really hungry. I have not eaten breakfast, so let's go get some breakfast. Okay, ready? Because I'm so fancy. Here's my breakfast. And a banana. Let's take the grossest looking banana. And I need water. Gotta stay hydrated. Got a long day of reading ahead of us. Okay, I just finished chapter 1. But yeah, I'll see you again probably when I get closer to page 140. So then I can open my package or parcel or whatever. So I just went and checked the mail. And on my way back, I saw this on my door. And for a second, I got really irrationally angry. And I just like ripped it off because I thought it was from today, but it was from yesterday. So DHL should still be coming with my package. I feel like a psychopath. Anyway, this book is really good so far. I'm on page 23. But yeah, the girl, the narrator and protagonist, Adrian, is really funny. So it's making this a very enjoyable read. Oh my god, so my package just got here, so I'm gonna take a break from reading. This book, and I'm going to film my unboxing video of that really quick. And I'm so excited. I love Fairy Loot. It's my Fairy Loot box. It came earlier than it did. It was attempted yesterday, so woo! I didn't have to stay upstairs for too long. I get to hang out in my library where I always want to be, like literally 100% of the time. So, all right, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna set up my lights and my stuff, and we'll see you afterwards. I just finished chapter 4, I think. I guess I can flip the page and find out. Yeah, I just finished chapter 4. I'm on page 59, or I just finished page 59. I want to make sure to get a workout in today. And also, I feel like I haven't showered in like 10 million years. And I smell not great. So I'm going to work out for like a half an hour. And then go take a shower. And then come back and hopefully get to my 140 pages so that I can open one of the packages. I am very much enjoying this book so far, so I'm very excited. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Well, it is several hours later, and I am now out of the shower. I was not in the shower for several hours. I was just digging around. So I was thoroughly enjoying the story until I came across this line. I want to tell stories, true stories. There are enough made-up stories in the world. Take it back. But yeah, that was the protagonist, and it just ruined the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to keep reading it because it's actually like really funny. But seriously, there are not enough made-up stories in the world. How can you say that?
This portion was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Alright, so I have reached page 140 in the book, and that is the page that I needed to reach to be able to open this. It talks about, so it feels like a necklace, which would make sense because it says here, she touches the silver strand of the necklace Margot gave me, holds it between her fingers and lets it trail until she finds the pendant. She touches the smooth jade with the first letter of my name inlaid in silver. I'm hoping that there's not an A on it, because
Ooh.
my name doesn't start with an A. Really tape down very good. Very well.
You said that in front of the world.
I know. Oh, and it says A drums jade necklace. Okay, so the A is just like a sticker, so there's an A on it, but I can just take it off. This is cool though. Now I have the same necklace as A drum. This is my husband.
Hi.
What is it like to be married to a book enthusiast?
I'm not a book reader myself. I'm like a gamer. That. Fortnite. I guess it's kind of cool. My wife seems pretty smart. It's probably because she reads a lot.
Answer me one more question.
What?
How did you get so sexy?
I was just born that way. Kind of just happens. What can I do? You know, it's a blessing and a curse.
Alright, I have now reached page 162. I'm wondering if this is going to be a bowl, because that is the only thing that I can remember being discussed on there, so that'll be interesting. Man, it is. It's a bowl for soup. And it's got like this cool pattern on it. I'm actually really hungry, so I think I'm gonna go make some soup. So I just got to page 265 in my book, so I get to open the next thing. And I'm pretty excited about this one because I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I feel like I have a decent idea. So this is like a birch. I mean, okay, so it has pictures of birch trees on it, but it's supposed to be like a birch bark box. This is so cool. They're birch bark drawings. I'm assuming that this is Vanya, and this is Adrian's father. That is so cool. Okay, so at first I was like, about the bowl, I was like, wow, this is just a bowl. Like, it's just a bowl. But this is really cool. This is like very specific to the book. And I am really enjoying this book, so I'm really happy that these came in here. I will definitely put these on my wall. So, I just finished the book. And this was so much more than I thought that it was going to be. I get to open my final gift now. I'm really excited to see what it is. The last page. The New York Times by Adrian Cahill. A Voice in the Forest. This was an amazing book. Yeah, just like the voice was amazing. The main character, Adrian, is like really funny. I don't really want to say anything more about it than that. It hit me really hard, so just know that. The next part of this video will be the detailed book discussion. I'll be going and getting my cat. I did really enjoy this whole experience, and I'm glad that I decided to go ahead and just add this to my August TBR and get through it, because it was really great, and I was not really able to put the book down. I may have canceled a plan in order to finish reading it. Yeah, that is all I'm going to say. So thank you so much for watching. If you have stuck with it this whole time. If you haven't read the book, don't watch any further. You should definitely pick it up. It was really good. Alright. I'll see ya. But you can stick around if you have read the book. So, alright. So here we are. I've got Captain with me. A lot of stuff happened in this book that I was not expecting at all. So, you drooled all over my hand. The premise of this book was extremely unique, so I really didn't know what to expect going in, but I definitely loved the book. It is a few days past when I finished the book, just because I didn't really have time to film anymore after I got done with my vlog. So the protagonist, Adrian, was freaking hilarious. I absolutely loved her voice. I felt like her sense of humor was very similar to mine, and that made me really happy. The scene in the bar before they, like, set off on their trip with all of the Russians talking about drugs was really funny. Honestly, it did not see what happened to the Russian crew coming at all. I know that they had mentioned looking for magic mushrooms in the woods. Yeah, I definitely did not foresee them mistaking death caps for psilocybin. So that was a very interesting twist. It had definitely seemed like the Asanovs had been the ones to kill the crew when Adrian and her stepfather first woke up to find them all dead. But I was pretty sure once we met a couple of them that had not been the case. Even Marat. One thing, I did kind of suspect that it might have been some sort of poison because they had all drank from the same flask, and Adrian had said their death was, like, bloodless. So I thought maybe somehow they had, like, put some really strong stuff in their flask that they all drank from, and Adrian and her father did not. But yeah, it was death caps, which is really interesting. And kind of stupid of them to just eat random mushrooms that they found if they didn't know for sure that it was psilocybin. Or my other theory was that maybe it had been Vanya who, like, saw Adrian and thought she was really pretty or something, and then saw Sergei, like, force her to kiss him. Although that wouldn't have been as good of a thing to happen than what did happen. I thought that the grief and anger that Adrian felt about her father's death felt very real. I love a lot of the parts where Adrian is talking into her dictaphone, particularly about Sergei. The part where Sergei takes her dictaphone, like, it mimics Adrian, and then she goes, I grab the recorder away from him and speak into it quickly. The weakling Russian is quickly proving himself the least popular member of the crew. There is talk of throwing him overboard. Tensions are rising. That part made me lol the hardest. So I thought the inclusion of, like, references to 50 Shades of Grey in here was really funny. The fact that, like, this really tough lady is reading it was just, like, really funny. Especially after the Asanovs ransack their camp. And Vanya has it in his little tree hole, and all of, like, the references come up again with him once he starts learning English. That was hilarious. I like to bite those lips. And she, like, recognized it from the story. That was really funny. Obviously other parts, but I'm not going to talk about those on here because my parents watch these videos. I thought that Adrian's character arc was really well done. The way that she went from... I mean, originally, obviously as a child, she believed in something, or she was hoping for something, because she really wanted to talk to her dad again. Hence trying to reach out to him through a Ouija board. And then after that whole experience, she just stopped believing in anything. But I don't even think that it was necessarily the Ouija board experience that made her stop believing. It was all of the stuff that she did while her dad was in the ICU that proved entirely fruitless. That was a really hard part of the story to read. Just a 10-year-old child having to go through losing a father like that, like over a period of 12 days. That is just, like, really heart-wrenching. And so I started crying a lot at that point. We were talking about that. And then I think the whole Ouija board experience was just kind of what gave it that extra kick that just made her stop believing in anything at all magical. But I do really like that, you know, she went then from not believing in anything to slowly gaining a belief of something, because obviously the Asanovs were real, but even before that she was having dreams about one of the Asanovs, the little girl, was appearing to her in her dreams, but I don't know if it was necessarily her dreams or if she was just awake and her actual ghost was coming to her, because there were times later in the story when she had met the Asanovs when the little girl did come to her while she was wide awake. I do think that was important for her to have, because it wouldn't really have been believable if she had just started believing in all of this other stuff, if she hadn't seen something, some sort of proof. Also, like the fact that her dad had been there watching out for her, even though he was dead, it was like his spirit that was, like, there with her. I'm obviously really glad that she seemed to change her mind about the need for fake stories in the world, because that is one thing that I was like, I do not like this aspect of her character. Um, I am an aspiring fiction writer, so I would like if the demand for fiction and literature were to continue. Obviously, she redeemed herself in that way in my mind. I felt really bad for Dan, the stepdad, like the entire time in the story. He was just like, he took her on this trip so that, like, not because he necessarily, thought she would be super helpful person to have while he looked for this, like, legendary family, but because he knew that she wanted to be a reporter and he wanted to give her that cool story that would, like, get her into a college and get her into the place that she wanted to be. He obviously really cared, and I definitely understand. I mean, like, I understand her side. She doesn't, like, no one can replace her father. Like, step-parents always have to deal with that kind of thing, whether they did anything wrong or not, Dan didn't do anything wrong by marrying her mother. He just happened to be there, and he was trying to be that father figure that she was now lacking. I felt really bad for him, because she seemed to just kind of make fun of him a lot of the time, and was like, oh, he's so awkward and, like, quiet, and nobody can ever tell if he's joking. And I think that I especially felt bad for him, because I connected to him so much. Like, I am the same way. I get really excited about stuff that nobody else cares about, and I have, like, a weird sense of humor that makes it really hard to tell when I'm joking a lot of the time. But I am really glad that they had that scene where Sergei forced Adrian to kiss him, and the stepfather was like, get your hands off my daughter, and, like, gave her the bear spray, and they kind of connected, and, he never, like, she is always trying to say, like, he's my stepdad, he's not my dad, because everyone's assuming that he's her father. But he never has any such qualms about calling her his daughter. It was really, really sad when he ended up drowning. Adrian almost drowned too, but her dad pulled her out of the water, and that was just, like, really, I don't know. And I had no idea. Like, I did not suspect that it was going to be the ghost of her father. I definitely thought that it was Vanya. This might be a little bit controversial, but I did really enjoy the romance in the story. I thought it was even more believable, too, because, it's not like some person came into her home and kidnapped her, and they were just trying to preserve themselves, and all of the children had never been out in society. It was just the couple that originally left their, like, town in Moscow, I think. But I definitely didn't hate Vanya, because he's just doing things that he has known his whole life growing up. And she was just pretending at first, so obviously it wasn't, like, super romantic at first. But then we have that part where she's telling him about her father's death after he learns a lot of English, which I loved that whole, like, the way that he was learning English. And we found out that he was secretly learning words from, like, 50 Shades of Grey and the guidebook that she had. Obviously, all of these things raised the question of whether or not she just had Stockholm Syndrome, and that's why she kind of fell in love with him. But I don't know, because she definitely questioned it a lot. And it was at first pretend. It wasn't real the whole time. But yeah, she had told him about her father's death and how angry she was about it, and how that girl needed to pay. And she wasn't going to say her name because she didn't think that the girl deserved to have her name be said. She didn't deserve to be humanized at all. Vanya was, like, angry and yelling with her because he had also lost his father and his sister. So they had a bunch of places or areas in which they connected. But yeah, she definitely was wondering whether she was losing her mind when she was starting to fall for him. I thought that was an important thing to add, because if she was just like, oh yeah, like, I totally like this guy who's, like, kind of aiding and keeping me hostage, here in the middle of the forest, and we're all probably gonna die, it would be a lot less believable. But she questioned it a lot. I was at first really happy when she had to leave, and the whole family knew that she had to leave, and she had become part of their family, and so it was really, like, sad, and I was crying when she was sad that she had to leave. but she knew that she was going to die if she didn't. And obviously she also missed her own family, her mother and her stepbrother. And at first, yes, I was excited when Vanya was planning to go with her. Although I was thinking a lot of things like, he doesn't have a passport or a birth certificate. How is he going to get on the plane to get home? Like, I don't know. Like, they're not going to be able to just take him to America. It's not going to be that easy. We have, like, very strict borders and immigration policies. The scene, the day that she was going to leave, when she was out trying to search by herself for a bunch of flint for the family, and the bear, like, bit her leg, and at first I was freaking out because I thought that she was gonna die, and then Marat comes in, like, big burly Marat, and, like, sacrifices himself to this bear to save her. And this whole time, he's just been scowling at her. She's thought that he was gonna kill her. There's, like, all these things, but, like, you know, he's just that, like, really, really aggressive and, like, angry older brother type of guy. But he really does love his family, and she had become his family to him. And so that was just a really touching part of the story, and I'm really glad that that was in there. It really redeemed Marat in a lot of ways. Oh my god, it's been like 5 days since I finished this book, and I'm crying again. How embarrassing. Obviously, Vanya could not go with her at that point because his mother and sister would die out there alone. So basically talked about the ending already, but now let's go back and talk about the other characters a little bit. Clara was really cute and sweet, and I loved her and her drawings. And the drawings that I got of hers that are now hanging on my wall. I'm really glad that Adrian was able to see her father again. That was a really beautiful part of the story. Him telling her that she needed to leave or else they would all die was also a really important thing. It was kind of something that I think that she knew, but it was definitely good to have the confirmation from her father. I was so happy that Gaspoja, is that how you say it? The mother, anyway, of the family. I'm really glad that she allowed her to be a part of the ritual. Alright, well, that is basically all that I have to say about this book. I don't want to make this video too terribly long because I already had a whole bunch of vlogs. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. All of my social media links will be linked down in the description. I make videos every Wednesday. Hopefully, the cats and I will see you next week. Goodbye!